So what do you do if you have the second issue featuring a brand new superhero to the DC universe? Why, you guest star Superman, of course. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Kevin's commentary on comics. I am having to reshoot the video I had done originally on Firestorm number 2, which is what we'll be talking about today. But that did get all corrupted or something. I don't know what happened, but at any rate, let's get on to issue number 2 in this very short-lived series. As we mentioned last time, we've got Firestorm, which is Ronnie Raymond and Professor Martin Stein, who have merged together to form Firestorm after being in the middle of a nuclear explosion. Now, Ronnie Raymond is in control of Firestorm, and Martin Stein is obviously aware while they are Firestorm, but when they split apart, Ronnie remembers everything, but Martin Stein doesn't. Which, as I said before, didn't realize that was the thing when I first started reading Firestorm way back in the day. But also in that very same nuclear explosion which created Firestorm was another man. Denton Black, the former partner to Martin Stein, who, as everybody in that type of position where they're no longer partners to the guy who's actually doing something great, claims that all of the ideas that guy has, he stole from him, which is the case with Black. He thinks Stein stole his ideas. Get it? Make sense there? I hope so. So what happened to him? Well, look no further than issue number 2 of Firestorm, the Nuclear Man. Danger doubled is death. This, of course, was written by Jerry Conway with art by Al Milgrom. So at the end of issue number 1, there was some question as to whether Ronnie and Martin would become Firestorm ever again. Well, that didn't last too long, because here he is on the very splash page of this issue, stopping some guys from beating up this other guy. Basically, he does it by simply turning the concrete into hot tar lava. Well, I assume hot. I mean, mostly tar is hot. The guys are stuck, and one would think their feet would have gotten burned off being stuck in tar like that. But, hey, details, details, details. So obviously, Firestorm is back, and he's feeling pretty good about it. Matter of fact, so good, he sees a girl, he lands in front of her, and he changes this rolled up newspaper into some flowers and gives it to her. But she just faints, and then all of her friends are like, "Hey, dude, what are you doing, man? Hey, what's going on?" And Firestorm flies away, seeing, well, maybe that was a mistake. Meanwhile, Denton Black, who kind of woke up from the explosion, feeling a little funny, has a headache, and sure enough, as he's walking out, he actually starts to see double. Could this be some foreshadowing? Maybe. So Firestorm starts making the news, and if you're in the news in 1978 in the DC universe, that is probably going to be reported by none other than Clark Kent, who used to be a TV reporter back in the day. I think now he's a blogger? I don't know. Again, I can't really talk about the current DC universe because I have no idea what's going on. But back in 1978, Clark Kent, newsman supreme. So Clark thinks to himself, man, there's a new superhero in town. I may need to go check him out, but I can't do it as Clark Kent. No. This is a job for Superman. Meanwhile, Stein is all of a sudden attacked by 2 dudes calling themselves Multiplex, the Duplicate Menace. Can't imagine who this guy is. So when Multiplex starts beating up Stein, all the way across town, Ronnie Raymond starts feeling himself getting punched. So obviously, he figures out that just because they are separated, there is still some sort of connection. And he realizes that Stein is probably in trouble, and he needs to go help him. But how? Can't get over there that quick. Wait a second. I wonder if this is Ronnie thinking, by the way, if I can cause myself to turn into Firestorm even though I'm this far apart from Dr. Stein, or Professor Stein, or whatever he is. And boom, shebang, confusion does manage to merge with Stein where Stein is, and basically replaces Stein with himself as Firestorm. Multiplex turns around and says, hey, where did Stein go, and where did this superhero come from? Doesn't seem to connect the dots that perhaps maybe Stein turned into this guy. I mean, So Multiplex, by the way, is actually at the power plant where Stein was at because he wants to use the nuclear reactor to gain more power. So when Multiplex actually absorbs this energy, he gets super strong. When he actually makes a duplicate of himself, he becomes super strong. And also he can make more copies of himself. Considering that Firestorm has the ability to change matter into any shape he chooses, somehow Multiplex, with just his super strength, and I'm not trying to downplay the importance or greatness of super strength, but with just his super strength, he manages to get the better of Firestorm, even to the point of knocking him up into the air to be caught by none other than the Man of Steel himself, Superman. When Superman actually catches Firestorm, he calls him Sonny. Sonny. I mean, come on. Is it any wonder they had to do something to reboot Superman in the mid-'80s or so? He sounds like an old man, for God's sakes. Of course, Firestorm gets all starry-eyed because he's meeting the #1 superhero in all of the universe, and actually gets so starry-eyed he actually lets Multiplex get away. Kind of a rookie mistake there. But then he figures out in inter-dialogue with Stein that Multiplex must be going somewhere else to absorb more energy. Yes, there happens to be another power plant, and Firestorm flies off to go confront him. Does he ask Superman to help out? And wouldn't that be a great guy to have by your side? No, he doesn't help him. He just leaves Superman. So he gets to jump on Multiplex. He defeats him, or them, something like that. And they finally figure out that it is none other than Denton Black. All right, so this is weird because if you look at Multiplex, he's wearing this kind of helmet thing that comes down past his nose, but I don't think far enough that would have hid his mustache. Sure does seem like that would have been a dead giveaway. Anyway, at the hospital where they took Multiplex, he merges back into a single being and I guess is in some sort of coma or something, but is generally passed out. So Superman congratulates Firestorm on job well done and says, hey, maybe I'll even put you up for membership in the Justice League of America. And of course, Firestorm thinks that's super duper terrific, flies off yelling, Yahoo! So obviously, he's going to be staying Firestorm for the near future, at least for a few more issues. Well, folks, it was my plan to review issues 2 and 3 in this episode, but dang it, I talk too much. You see, I sit down and I do all of my recording at one time, and I probably need to set up some sort of timer or something so I can keep track of how long I've been going on about, because by the time I got down to my editing stage, I had over 30 minutes just talking about 2 issues. So I'm going to split this up into 2 episodes, and I'll probably just try to stick to 1 issue per episode going forward. I really don't want to make these things way too long. But in the meantime, I'm Kevin. That was my commentary. What did you think of this issue? By having Superman appear in the 2nd issue, it sure seemed like DC wanted Firestorm front and center in the DC universe, but that didn't really pan out, did it? I think at best, maybe he managed to become a 2nd-tier character, but you know what? That might be generous. Definitely 3rd tier, but any higher, and maybe we've got a debate going on. Multiplex, the villain featured in issue number 2, was used in the Flash TV show, although I don't believe it was one that featured Firestorm. So leave a comment below on this and anything else you'd like to talk on about with Firestorm number 2. We'll do issue number 3 next time, and just so you know, it does introduce a villain who is probably, arguably, Firestorm's arch nemesis, Killer Frost. You don't want to miss that, and just so you don't, click on that subscribe button. You know what to do. So until next time, it's starting to get cold out there, and maybe even a little colder now that Killer Frost is coming up. But that doesn't mean you can't go out and make it a great day. Do that, and I'll see you later. Bye.